Just want to say hello to all of you. How is it going? Very good. Let's make the sound of applause to each other because we are ready to start. My name is Alex. I'm going to be today with you, and before we're going to start some kind of official part, I want to share with you some information which I really hope so that you won't need today. I'm talking about the air alert, I'm talking about the siren. If we hear the signal of this air alert, we will move to the nearest bomb shelter, and that way we can continue because everything is prepared for our continue. Everything is ready for doing our best not to stop the main idea which we prepared for tonight. Once again, want to ask all of you, who of you come here with a positive mood? Please raise up your arm. Want to see higher. Who believe in our victory? Raise up your second arm. Make the noise of applause to each other. Make the noise of applause. Thank you so much. Want to say words of hello and address to all of you. Also want to thanks to all our online viewers, all our online participants who join us. I want to propose you to be the part of everything what will be here today. So let me start. Very happy to see all of you. Happy to see you smiling with open mind, with open eyes. Want to start and want to share with you. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are honored to welcome all of you today. We are also pleased to see all our online participants and propose you, how I said, to be the part of everything what will be here. Time is the most valuable resource that cannot be restored. Human needs constant development and learning, proved by the time. Today we're going to talk about digital technologies for rapid workforce reskilling and upskilling. As business increasingly rely on digital technologies to increase productivity and competitiveness, our event will focus on sharing insights and discussing innovative approaches in utilizing digital tools and products for workforce development. Our meeting will serve as a platform for partners to exchange ideas and best practice related to digital technologies in upskilling and reskilling innovatives for new jobs creation. We believe that participants will have the opportunity to showcase digital solutions, tools, and methodologies aimed at accelerating the process of workforce development. The event will also explore generational workforce differences and challenge in effectiveness of current digital solutions in the market. Discussions will cover approaches to effective engagement, training, and integration of employees across different groups and generations, ensuring that business are equipped to effectively manage a diverse workforce. Let the new history start now with a big round of your applause. Now, I would like to give the floor to the one who will open the beginning of today's event. Please welcome USAID Ukrainian Acting Mission Director, Theodora Dell. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much, and I'm really very happy, really thrilled to be here with this group of people. I'm thrilled to be speaking with all of you about some of the challenges that we see in this, and I'm really so psyched and happy to hear what ideas you have about some of the solutions. I want to thank Deputy Minister Tatiana Berezhna for being with us, because that's really sort of like a strong vote of confidence about the partnership that we have with the Ministry of Economy, but with the government of Ukraine writ large, to solve some of these challenges. This is a kind of an emerging issue for Ukraine that is multidimensional. The skills mismatch that I'm going to talk about in a second. Okay, the skills gap. It could really be a bottleneck on recovery, but it can also be a kind of a driver for more Ukrainian innovation. And this is why we have this terrific group of people here, plus many, many more who are not here, not even online, but who have a role to play in this. And we want to see how we can engage all of you and all of them together in a kind of like a whole of society for Ukraine, but also with all of the donors and private partners from around the world to solve this challenge. There was I heard that quoted somewhere at one of private sector event, and I like to quote it a lot, that it's armies win battles. Did you tell me this? Maybe you told me this? Yes, okay. Deputy Minister Berezhna told me something that I've quoted after that many, many, many times. Oh, okay. So yeah, so armies win battles, but economies win wars, and that's certainly true for Ukraine, which has a tremendous economic potential and a tremendous innovation potential, but is facing very, very long odds. And one of the, obviously, the biggest challenge is the ongoing brutal attacks on Ukraine's people and on Ukraine's infrastructure. However, this challenge that also is very much related to the war is also the workforce challenge, the skills gap challenge is also is already a binding constraint, which, you know, is stopping Ukraine's economy from going as fast as it could, even under conditions of war. And it certainly could be a massive, massive issue once the fighting stops and the full-scale reconstruction begins. So again, the only other thing I'm going to say before I go through the presentation is that from USAID, we're still trying to define really what the challenge is, because it's an emerging dynamic challenge. We don't have any solutions yet. Hopefully together we will develop, you know, in the future some solutions. We have colleagues from Washington that are here to help us also think through some of the challenges. So I'm not going to talk about what we're going to do about this. I'm just going to talk about what we currently see as the challenge, and I'm also open to ideas from you, sort of challenging that, saying, no, this is not what's going on, there's something you're not seeing, or you're not looking at this right. So it will be, the presentation will look like I'm only talking about a problem with no solution, and that's kind of intentional, because I don't want to prescribe the solutions. And the main reason for that is that, in fact, for when you have challenges like this one, where you have something big, not a lot of time, and not a lot of money, what you need is innovative solutions, and governments never have them. This is not what governments don't really do innovation well. So this is why we're looking forward to all of you. So a little bit about what USAID is. USAID has worked in Ukraine for more than 30 years. And we've had a really very effective partnership throughout this period in pushing forward with important reforms and kind of together helping Ukraine realize its ambitions towards getting closer and closer to the European Union and towards integration. After the start of the full-scale invasion, that partnership completely changed, I have to say. First of all, we received a lot of resources from the budget in order to help Ukraine. And then we transitioned what had been these long-term goals to a more immediate impact. And these are basically our two most important goals for USAID. Number one, win the war. And number two, win the future. And these two things are really related. Helping Ukraine, of course, win the war, and helping Ukraine win the future. And you're probably familiar with some of the work that we're doing to achieve those two goals. We have other objectives, of course, to be accountable for funding, to hold ourselves accountable, and definitely to hold Russia accountable for its crimes. But really, for the future of Ukraine, these two things we see as critical. And the way we do them And the way we want to do them in the future is through partnerships, and partnerships with the government, partnerships with civil society, but primarily for the economy, partnership with the private sector and with Ukraine's innovators. And here is what I think is our biggest success story in terms of partnerships, which is really turbocharging Ukraine's digital transformation, which we've been working on for quite a long time through our digital unit, but after the start of the full-scale invasion, that became even more important as a really critical priority. And these are some of the really successful initiatives that we have done with the private sector and with the government in order to advance digitalization. So we're looking for partnerships as well to address what we see as this really important issue. Why is there a skills gap in Ukraine? According to this graph, which is the unemployment rate, which jumped from 10%, quite high. These are the number of people who are actively looking for work. Quite high, 2020, 21, kind of stable. Then it went to 25%, and then in the end of 2023, it was still about 20%. This implies that there's a lot of workers looking for work. So why is there such a shortage of workers? These are quotes from actual, from this survey of developers in November 2023, actual quotes from the managers of construction companies. Looks like there are a lot of people looking for work, but yet there are no workers. And this is because of that skills mismatch. And there are a variety of reasons for that skills mismatch, and we can talk about some of them, but it's there. And without addressing it, there's a lot of work that's going to be left undone. And when you leave work undone, you're leaving economic growth on the table, you're leaving revenues on the table, you're leaving livelihoods on the table, and that we can't afford that right now. There's been a lot of, after that first survey that I saw in November last year, there's like an avalanche of additional data that confirms that there's this skills mismatch exists. This is European, the EBA research on labor market. In October 2023, more than 50% of companies that they surveyed said that they are lacking skilled workers. And here, and this is another one from March 2024 that sort of shows where the real needs are. The real needs are actually in these very fachivtsi, as we say, as you say in Ukrainian, the skilled trades that are going to be that are critical now for the war economy, and they're going to be also super critical for this transitional economy until Ukraine sort of like recovers fully from the full-scale invasion and becomes the innovation-based economy that is targeted by Ukraine's government and Ukraine's private sector. So this is something that the Ministry of Economy put out last year, which I wasn't here yet, so I hadn't seen that. That statistic, I just recently found it, and that's really amazing. That basically says that for each of the in the next decade, an additional 500,000 workers will be needed, especially in these hard sorts of technical skills areas. That's roughly on par for Ukraine with the United States. The United States has so it's kind of a skills gap that's about 500,000 people per year. So you can see in the United States, it's 10 times bigger than Ukraine, and with an economy that's many more than 10 times bigger. So this is a humongous gap. Some of the things that are going on. First of all, it's really this. That's at the heart of it. 6.2 million Ukrainians are outside of Ukraine. These are the people who are in Western Europe and the so-called free world, not counting the people who are, in many cases, forcibly removed to Russia. It's very pale over there, but if you can see, about 30% of women between the prime working age, between 20 and 50, are outside of the country. A lot of the children are also outside of the country. It looks like the men are here in the country, but as we know, so many of them are fighting, and that's also actually a real big reason why there's a gap in these technical skills, because they are what's known in Ukraine as the male-dominated professions. And they are actually male-dominated everywhere, but in Ukraine they are particularly strongly male-dominated. Here is another statistic that's been a concern to me and to my colleagues, because with the war, Center of Economic Strategy does this survey every 6 months, roughly, and this is the data over the last, the latest data that they have, 3 latest surveys, November 22, May 23, and January 24. And you can see the top orange-colored bar is the share of people who are definitely planning to return to Ukraine after the war ends. That proportion has dramatically declined. And that's because the war has been going on for 2.5 years. Life goes on, people settle down, people get jobs, children go to school. It's just, this is something that shouldn't be unexpected. There is the government of Ukraine is making a big effort to attract people to come back, really important effort, but to be realistic, in addition to hoping that all of these 6.2 million people will return, you have to actually think more about how can you make the people who are here more productive and more effective. And that has to be at the heart of reconstruction and recovery planning. Because the number of people who are definitely not planning to return has also increased a lot to 7.3%, also kind of not super big, but look at the number at the bottom, the one that says that for 25% are finding it hard to say. So when we talk to the researchers, their sense is that these are people who are actually most probably not planning to return, but they don't want to say it because these are all patriotic Ukrainians, but they just understand that, there's got to be, it's highly unlikely that they'll be able to return full time. So this is just this is my data for what's going on here, and in addition to that, ever since I prepared these slides, we've had the new law on conscription, which makes it even more likely that there will be gaps in these technical skills. So this is one thing that I wanted to point out here is this is not just a challenge that Ukraine is facing. Ukraine is facing a order of magnitude bigger challenge, but it's a challenge all around the world. This is the statistic that I gave, that 500,000 workers is the gap that the US is facing. In the UK, it's actually 1 million workers that are missing. And in the EU, also there are increasing shortages in the construction area. Why am I focusing on construction? Because that's one of the sectors where there is the biggest push to apply innovative tech solutions to upskilling and reskilling. So these are some of the kind of feedback from experts in in the UK and in the US, which is just, from media stories about this. But there is a big push to start using more tech solutions for the construction industry, specifically about upskilling and reskilling. And so I know that in Ukraine, the one aspect of Ukraine's economy that's really has been almost turbocharged by the full-scale invasion is the innovation economy and Ukraine's innovation. There's the work that's been done in defense tech is really kind of like world-leading, but it's time to also think about how some of these solutions can be applied to challenges like this one. So I'm going to stop here, and hopefully we'll hear more from you as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and I think that this big round of applause is really very fair. Once again, please, with warm heart, big round of applause. Please make some noise. Thank you. Thank you, Theodore. You know what I really enjoyed about two wishes, and it's not like a wish, it's like a main strategy plan, you said. Yet it's not just to win a war, but to win a future. I think it's really very important. Right now I want to share the stage with the Deputy Minister of Economy of Ukraine, Tatiana Berezhna. Please welcome her here.
No presentation. All the numbers were already shown by Teddy. So thank you for excellent presentation. Thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure for me to be in a company of people who care for Ukrainian future, for Ukrainian economy, and for Ukrainian people. And actually, Teddy, you mentioned also one of my favorite quotes on battles and wars. And I would like to ask you a question. What economy are we fighting for exactly? And I have a very short and precise answer to that. We are fighting for a self-sufficient economy. We are extremely grateful to our partners for their help, for their support, but only self-sufficient economy actually can win a war. And what makes economy self-sufficient? It's a number of taxes paid, a number of working places created in the country, volumes of export. And that's actually what we are fighting for, what we are caring for in the Ministry of Economy. Actually, the challenges we are facing now are, we have never ever faced these challenges before, and this means that we as a country have mobilized all our resources, all our connection, all our powers to tackle these challenges. And for instance, in this room, we have like a small world of support like in one place, our international partners, very strong actors from the civil society and the government of Ukraine, actually. And the biggest challenge for us now is not only to make our economy self-sufficient, but also, as our minister always says, to exceed from the raw materials economy to the processing economy. As you understand, according to the OECD standards, rich countries have 20% in the structure of their GDP, the amount of processing economy. As of now, Ukraine has only 7%. And that is where we are moving and moving to now. And what can give us actually this processing economy? Economy with a lot of rounds of added value creation, big experts, big valutna vyrучка, you know it in Ukrainian and in English as well. It's a workforce which can be engaged to the processing economy. And you're absolutely right, Teddy, that now we are facing a very big gap in this фахівці, in vocational training specialist, and that is where we are, and what we are doing now in the Ministry of Economy is one of our strongest points of attention. And you are absolutely right also that a number of people that are fighting for our country on the front line is actually 1 million of people, and these are mainly men. We are extremely proud of this 60,000 women also engaged in fighting. But at the same time, we understand that there is a very, very big gap between in male-dominated professions. These professions that were previously occupied and stereotypically associated with men, we are now in a very big shortage of that. That's why in the Ministry of Economy, it's our big point of attention to engage women to male-dominated profession and also to the professions connected with processing economy and with reconstruction. And one of the biggest challenges that I would like to address too in this room is that we have 3 options to reskill and retrain in this very actual sphere. First one is vocational education centers in the structure of state employment service. They are like feature that it's for adults, people who already have the education and want to reskill and retrain. Also, we have a number of establishments in the structure of the Ministry of Education, which also give the skills in this vocational training sphere. But I'm here with you now and would like to turn your attention that also various digital platforms, various private actors can also engage in this sphere, because for the Ministry of Economy, it's really, really very important. So I understand that the people who are now with us and are presenting various actors from the private sector should focus also their attention on reskilling and retraining courses in this sphere. The problem is also that we have various options to reskill and retrain all around Ukraine, but we do not have a single window with opportunities where one can go to become a welder, become electrician, become a construction worker. And this platform is also needed for us. What I would also like to turn your attention to is that we are in the course of Ukraine Facility Plan. You understand it's a huge document which has a number of steps that we have to achieve to receive the funding from the European Union, need to adopt an employment strategy. It's a plan of our actions by 2030, which will define where we are moving to in terms of reskilling and retraining. And I would like to also invite all of you, people who have the expertise in this field, to help us to write this employment strategy, because you are also very strong actors in this field. We plan to finish it and to complete it by the end of this year, and this employment strategy will also define the vectors we are moving to in terms of reskilling and retraining. Our biggest aim is also, I like this actually political statement, we understand that we are in a very, very important point of history now. At the same time, we are moving to the European Union, and as you know, one of the key principles is a free movement of workers, which means that what is happening now, this migration actually matches what we are moving to in terms of Euro integration. At the same time, as you mentioned, Teddy, 4.5 million of workers are needed in Ukraine to grow at least 7% GDP a year. So we are in that moment of time where we need to ensure the employment rights of our people outside of Ukraine in the terms of free movement of workers, and at the same time we need our people back. So it's also a very important point of history to put our efforts in the right way. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak to you here. I will also stay here for as much as possible to hear your interventions, and thank you so much for the invitation.
Tatiana, thank you so much. Thank you so much that you find the time and we are having you here today. So let's move on and want to welcome to our stage Director of Electronic Communications Directorate from Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. Please welcome Stanislav Pribitko.
Hello, warm greetings to all attendees. Very glad to be with you today. First and foremost, I want to express my gratitude to USAID, to the whole team, for the unwavering support in advancing all digital innovations we try to make with your help. I also want to acknowledge and thank colleagues from Ministry of Economy for the dedicated work and collaboration to in the process of workforce development. We in the ministry believe that digital technologies play transformative role in all spheres of life and economy, including development of workforce, especially upskilling and reskilling. We are living in times when millions of people lost their jobs. A lot of them became internally displaced, a lot of them moved abroad. That means that a lot of workplaces were lost, industries received significant damage, and companies can't provide the same amount of workplaces for people as it was before the war. This is a significant problem for many Ukrainian families. At the same time, it is a struggle and opportunity for all of us. The only option we have now is to adopt to current situation and try to develop modern digital economy in order to receive high added value and use as much as possible digital tools. As you know, Prime Minister Mikhail Fedorov is responsible for education and science. And nowadays he is transforming educational system of Ukraine in order to correspond to needs of current time. We try to use all digital technologies, for example, AI, machine learning technologies to create digital educational programs, platforms, for example, Maria mobile application, which you could hear from the news. Online learning, virtual studying programs, digital certificates are key components in our strategy. That's why we are focused exactly on digital education as much as we could. I know that colleagues today will share case studies and examples of innovative educational digital platforms, for example, Future Perfect, DIA Education, and others. Addressing challenges and opportunities to engage diverse workforce is crucial to be inclusive. We are ready to work jointly with our international partners and the Ministry of Economy and other ministries in order to develop strategy to engage, interact, and collaborate among different age groups. We encourage to use digital tools in order to cover a large amount of people, to make quick modernization of curricular and training programs themselves. And it's important to create inclusive learning digital environments in order to cater various learning styles, preferences. All as we think should be about inclusivity. Our vision for the future of workforce development is ambitious and far-looking. We believe that nowadays government should be only user-centric, with 100% of all government services provided online. We believe in 21st century economy, which is based on digital ground, and all citizens try to improve their digital skills. I encourage active participation and collaboration from all stakeholders in order to reach these goals. And once again, I would like to express my gratitude to USAID, Ministry of Economy. I hope and I'm sure that we will receive positive results from our today and future events on this topic. And I believe in effective progress with the help of such strong teams as DTA and SEP projects. Have a good event.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for this report. Thanks for this applause. And how I said, we are ready to begin. We are ready to begin and we are ready to open our first session. The theme, innovative approaches leveraging digital technologies for rapid workforce development. And with great honor, want to welcome the moderator of the first panel discussion. No, too early. I need to say some word. Yeah, I'm kidding. Of course, I'm kidding. Manufacturing and Future Industries Competitiveness Director, USAID Competitive Economy Program, Valery Dobrovolsky. Please welcome him. You know what to do. All the stage, all the audience is for you. Yeah, you said that you brought the microphone with you, so please want to hear words of hello from you. Yes, that's what I usually name as a rehearsal. Please, once again, check. Check, once again, check.
Check, check. Thank you very much, everyone. Greetings. So, we begin. We're a bit late, but I think we'll still try to use some of your time to cover the topics because I think they're very exciting, both panels. And Ms. Dora covered a lot of very staggering problems in her presentation, and at some point I got a bit scared. But then I,
a little bit.
Yeah, but then I understood that we do have a lot of solutions already on the market from the government, from the private sector, and from the civil society that can try to tackle those large problems, and I would like to discuss them today, especially in the technology sphere. So I think all of us feel how Ukraine is becoming a technology state, and education is among those areas where I think, although it's a traditional area, but still the area where technology can help a lot to tackle those staggering problems. And we have, in my opinion, one of the best speakers we can have for that topic today in Ukraine. Please join me in welcoming Alexander Trygub, the co-founder and CEO of Projector. Who studied at Projector? Yeah? 10%. Okay. Ivan Primachenko, co-founder and CEO of Prometheus. Who studied at Prometheus?
The same people.
Little more,
no,
same
little
people.
more, but practically the same
But
people.
yeah. Stas Boyko, Deputy Chief of Party of USAID Program, DTA. DTA.
The same question will be, who knows us?
Who knows TAPAS? USAID Program TAPAS. Good.
Very good.
More.
Yeah.
Who knows Digital Transformation Activity, the program that expands the work started by TAP? Okay, good. And we have an online speaker, Samar. You with us? Samar Farah,
We're checking.
senior consultant from Coursera. Who knows Coursera?
Can you hear me okay?
Who studied at Coursera? Good. Samar, glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having
So
me.
we will
Can you
be-
hear me okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, we hear you. Very good.
Okay, so we will use this opportunity to discuss how we can leverage digital technologies to focus on upskilling and reskilling Ukrainians to build a new economy and win the future, and being mindful of the fact that Samar would need to leave us very soon at 3, I would like to open the floor with Samar, asking one big question which has two components. Samar, so I recall when Coursera started, you were a startup on your own, and you raised funding and you went, like all the courses were free back then, but from there you made a trip to becoming a New York Stock Exchange publicly traded company for now, and you support millions. And now you're actively participating in such activities in Ukraine. How would you characterize this journey? And can you give us a little background of the initiatives that we're launching in Ukraine, Reskill UA, with the presentation that we would ask the organizers to show on screen?
Of course, happy to do that. If it's okay, I will share my screen, and I hope you can see it well. Can you see it? Everything good?
We can.
Okay, perfect. And I sincerely apologize for not being able to be there. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be a part of this engagement and to be able to provide some inputs from our side. So just to answer your questions, I'll first talk a little bit about what we've been doing, the journey that we've had across Coursera. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the specific initiative called Reskill UA that we're really excited to launch. So as you rightly mentioned, Coursera was launched over 10 years ago by two founders, Stanford professors, whose vision was to offer access to learning to anyone, anywhere. And obviously, that started off with individuals, learners, but over time, over a few years, it was very evident that the demand for upskilling and reskilling is so significant globally, and it would be impossible to do that just in face-to-face opportunities. So Coursera then expanded its partnerships and engagements to companies, providing training, skill development opportunities to companies globally, governments through workforce development and public sector upskilling, and finally educational institutions. And so it's three segments that we support that I would say are quite unique because they reinforce each other in terms of providing us with insights and inputs that can help drive those lifelong learning pathways that I'll talk about shortly. And what's crucial in terms of what we offer is obviously online learning from university partners. So leading universities across the world, Yale, University of Michigan, University of London, and many, many others, as well as our industry partners, which I would say have been growing in demand in recent years. And so we've got over 300 partners who offer their content on our platform, and we make that available to different learners. Now, what's emerged over the last few years as part of these partnerships across governments, businesses, and universities is that we've started to shift away from individual upskilling opportunities or training opportunities to designing pathways into careers as well as entry or re-entry into education. And so that's really where those workforce development programs, such as what we're discussing here today, allow more structured pathways that provide much more substantive, meaningful outcomes, not just for the individuals themselves, but also at a national scale, such as what we're seeing in Ukraine and what we hope to achieve in Ukraine. And so this is generally, our strategy that we're focusing on at the moment, and it's something that we're implementing in over 100 different countries in workforce development programs, and that support different initiatives. So education is obviously a significant one, but there's also other challenges that we see globally that we're working to address, such as climate change, such as women's empowerment, which obviously is also another important piece in Ukraine, infrastructure development programs, health issues, etc. So that's generally the model that we're implementing around workforce development. But that's also a good moment to transition to what we're doing in Ukraine. But very quickly, before I move on to that, it's also important to just share a little bit of data, as I saw was shared earlier in the presentations. One thing we've seen from some of the research that we've conducted on these workforce development programs is actually that the outcomes when it comes to career benefits are significant. So we surveyed over 55,000 different learners across the world, and what we've seen is 72% of learners have reported career benefits. Now that includes both tangible and intangible benefits, and the tangible benefits capture, things like getting a job, getting a promotion, increasing a salary, or earning a degree and credential, and that's approximately 29%. And it's worth mentioning that those career benefits were the most evident or the strongest in our workforce development programs. So it's clear that there is something unique and valuable that is emerging out of these initiatives that we're investing in. I will jump through just for the sake of time, but this is just the inspiration behind the program that we are launching very soon. emerged out of these moments of need, right? At the start of the war, Coursera, as a public benefit company, decided to open up access, similar to when we were launched, to open up access freely to educational institutions across Ukraine. And what we saw was a huge demand and an interest from students and faculty to learn on our platform. And that then inspired many conversations that were led by my colleague Evgenia, who's unfortunately not here with us today, to identify other opportunities for us to do more in Ukraine. And so this is essentially what led us to launching this initiative, partnered, where we're partnering with Happy Monday. And I believe our wonderful partner, Anna, is there in person. So hopefully some of you can meet with her and she can answer any questions. But it's a partnership between Coursera and Happy Monday with the support of USAID CEP program. And so it's the concept behind the initiative is upskilling and reskilling opportunities that helps to connect job seekers and employers together. Now, the program goals, let me just share what these are. The first one is to reskill and upskill 30,000 Ukrainian citizens into new jobs. And we've heard so much earlier around the socioeconomic situation with the supply and demand issues in the labor market, whether it comes to finding the right talent, or even having the opportunities, the opportunities for jobs. And so these are our efforts to try and address some of these local challenges that we see on the ground. The second goal is to engage 2,000 local real sector economy companies to create new jobs. And finally, to create 8,000 new jobs in response to the current employability needs by June 2025. And so that's to place some of these participants in the program into those jobs. So we have a big and ambitious goal, but we are really excited. We'll be launching in June. So let me tell you a little bit about how we've structured the program. We conducted quite a lot of research, and some of it was shared earlier, so I didn't want to go through that, on what are the local requirements in terms of the job market. What are the areas that we should be investing in? But we also drew on our own insights at Coursera when it comes to global trends around jobs that are likely to be in demand and areas that we should be investing in for the digital economy. So what we came up with 11 different learning tracks to address those needs on the ground. So the first one, the first area or the first collection of pathways are focused around responding to the job market. So they're reskilling opportunities or just a general skilling for university graduates or people that were in more traditional jobs that want to transition to these more in-demand job roles. And those are sales, project management, marketing, and retail. The next collection are focused on upskilling technical professionals, so people that are already working in these industries such as energy, construction, as we well heard, manufacturing, supply chain management and logistics, those 4 areas. And it's about upskilling these individuals to kind of allow them to grow in their areas or focus on digital aspects of within their industries as well. The next track is around technology. So, and this we've decided to focus on both upskilling and reskilling opportunities because of what we saw as an opportunity. And those are cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. And finally, the business enabling track, which we know is very much needed, is focused around entrepreneurship. So upskilling aspiring business leaders. So those are the key learning tracks. Let me just tell you about how we plan to implement the program. So obviously Coursera will be the source of the training and the learning. And we have decided to design programs, which I didn't mention in the previous slide, as you saw the logos, to design tracks that are focused on what we call micro-credentials. They're essentially certificates, professional certificates or certificates offered by our university partners that are focused on preparing people for specific job roles. So they're quite job focused. They develop those hands-on experiences and practices that people need to know to be able to instantly be able to get working. And we've seen a huge growth and demand in those over the last 5 or so years on our platform. So the learners will be completing those programs on our platform. They will have different periods to complete them. For those that want to fast track and do it over 3 months, they can, and others will be given 6 months to complete that training. In addition, they will receive technical support as part of their training if they need any guidance on the platform. And importantly, I would say the significant success of the program, which I hope we will see, will be driven by our local on-the-ground support through Happy Monday. So Happy Monday will be providing mentorship to these learners in the form of career consultations, professional support, guidance around career opportunities and tools, organizing face-to-face and online initiatives such as webinars, pitches, job fairs, etc. And they will also engage employers. And I think this is probably a lot of opportunity to discuss today, is understanding, connecting those learners with potential companies, but also engaging them to understand what their requirements are and potentially designing specific pathways to support any particular needs that we see in the labor market. So this is overall the model that we have designed. We'll be launching in early June, so it's just around the corner. And look forward to hearing your feedback. And thank you so much for having me and for the support.
Thank you very much. This is the feedback. Thank you for that. And I understand, Samar, you would need to be leaving at some point soon. If you can stay for the discussion, we would be more than happy to have you. But we will.
I apologize, I cannot hear you.
Do you hear us right now? Do you hear us?
Perfect, thank you.
Once
Sorry.
again, let us try, please, Valerie.
Samar, thanks a lot for
Do you hear?
questions from the audience, because I know that you need to leave at 3 p.m. Ukrainian time, right? Thanks for the overview. We're looking forward to launch. Happy to have you, bringing all the expertise from working across the cultures, across different like education system, across different economies, to Ukraine, partnering with Happy Monday. Like we usually call it Happy Friday, but now it becomes Happy Monday. So thanks for that. And if you can stay for the discussion, please. If you cannot, we will, continue with our colleagues here. And actually, we have people in the panel that have a lot of local experience. They have a lot of business insights. So we're looking forward to hear from you what's really happening on the ground. What is right now the situation with employers, with employees? What's your experience? So I would like to ask Alexander Trehup. You are one of the pioneers of Ukrainian digitalization of education first, and now you're also moving into the workforce development. You publish a magazine. You're organizer of a large Eastern European conference. You innovate. Like any city I go to, I see the billboard of projector. I understand we all need to try to learn, right? Can you give us a bit of like the journey, how you evolved, why you started in that, why you believed in doing that type of activity, and you grew big, and what do you do now, and how actually engage employers now with our initiative Lezo? How did that go with you?
Yeah, thank you. So thank you for having me. My name is Alexander. I'm a co-founder and CEO of the Projector Institute. We are the private institution which gives the education by engaging the industry-led specialists. So all our teachers are the really, really cool people from the market who know their job very, very well. And around the education for designers, marketers, project managers, product managers, and so on, we are trying to foster the things that Tatiana said about the product economy. So our big dream is to help Ukraine to build the economy with high added value and the products with the high margin. And that is why we try to teach our students who want to upskill and reskill to think in the product way, to think globally, to think as you were born in Ukraine, but you are going to work with global markets and to build the successful global businesses. And around that educational part, we are building a big community and big technical ecosystem, which covers the mentorship, which covers the media platform, and the new product we have launched this year with the support of USAID, thank you a lot, is the career service LESO. I must tell you a bit about the problem we try to cover. So there are a lot of great career services in Ukraine as Happy Monday, and we know that they work very well. But we have found some problems in the recruitment process. The first one is the very big mismatch between companies who are going to hire and job seekers. So companies receive a lot of letters which you have to read every cover letter, you have to answer, you have to get into the communication, and that creates a lot of waste of resources for companies to hire the right people. The other problem is that the job seekers, they are involved in this communication too, and they have to do a lot of work to find a job. Sometimes some companies who are hiring, they are not so much experienced in, for example, IT sphere, but they are looking for IT specialists. So there are a lot of plants, manufacturers, local companies who are working for the designer, for example, but they don't know how to title that position correctly. And they title that as, for example, UI UX designer, but they really don't need a UI UX designer, and they are looking for graphic designer or for the product designer. So our approach is that we are using the AI algorithm, which helps the companies and job seekers to connect with the skills, but not the titles of the jobs. And it gives much, much more efficient results. So now we have around you have to work with 7 profiles to make one meeting with the person who is looking for a job, and it's much better than in general for a lot of companies. Why did we do that? Why did we do this job service? Because we understand that education is valuable by itself. We shouldn't underestimate education, and it makes a lot of sense just to study. But in the end, every student wants to have the profit from this study and the result from the study. So all of the students are looking for a new job, or they're looking for the promotion in their job, or they want to just get paid better, and so on. So they are looking for the connection between the education and their job opportunities. So the plan of, so our strategy is to connect the educational process and the recruitment service. And the product we have already released, it gained a lot of attention of market. We have more than 30,000 profiles already in that, and around 1,000 of companies who are hiring. But the next step would be using much more sophisticated AI algorithms, which would let us to use the data of students who are studying. And we really know a lot of them. We know a lot about their results, about their tempo, about their homeworks, about their activities on the webinars, and we can give the companies much more information and to make the job matching much more precise. I really think that educational platforms and schools and institutions, they would move to combine career and educational parts. And if we would think in a digital and in a product way, we must understand that we already have a lot of data, and we can already do really great things that we just couldn't do that about 5 years ago. So using AI technologies, the digital technologies and so on, we can make much more efficiency for the companies. And as it was said today, we must think about how to get people back. And I'm sure that the more nice business we would have, the more people would just feel that Ukraine is attractive for them. But we must be very efficient with local markets, and we must do the things that we lost more resources before. We just can make it cheaper, faster, more efficient, and I'm sure that it would give the great push for Ukrainian economy.
Thank you. So there's a lot of takeaways for me. First of all, when I hear someone saying AI, now the discussion becomes interesting. But also I see that you're basically solving a lot of problems for employers because they focus on their field of work, but they cannot, but they always need marketing, they always need, product developers, they always need technicians or like IT people, and they do not have expertise in that. And you help them, build a proper specialist with a good career profile and help them quicker employ that person. And you're still learning, how to optimize all the process so that you feed them well. That's great. You also mentioned that education is key. So fundamentals should be there, and then you can work with that. And here I would like to pass the word to Stas, because I know that you're involved in two actually nationwide platforms that work with fundamentals, DO-Svita and Future Perfect. And I looked at DO-Svita, I found it very good because it has videos, it has professional orientation, it has courses, like you can find everything, you can build a career from home, and I think like it's great that we have instruments like that. What do you expect it will, how will it impact the Ukraine? And actually also how it will play with the traditional system of education?
Yeah, thanks for your question. Maybe I'll just start with explaining who we are and why we are engaged in this activity. So I'm basically wearing two hats at this event. I'm representing the Transparency and Accountability Public Administration and Services, the activity that has been around for almost 8 years, supported by the USAID and UKAID, and we are now running to our end. TAPAS was mostly focused on anti-corruption through digitalization, so we didn't do that much in terms of education and upskilling, but there are some initiatives I will tell you about. And also the digital transformation activity is the new program that has started in December last year. Bless you. Also supported by the US and UK governments, and this is really a bigger initiative than TAPAS and wider in terms of scope. And among our core goals, we have the goal of economic revitalization, basically economic growth. And this is directly related not with only with the things we are very accustomed to, building digital products, making services easier for businesses, but also we identified this gap that Theodore was talking about, that Tatiana was talking about, that there is a huge mismatch between the workforce we have and the way the market is evolving and the needs of the Ukrainian economy. So we will be continuing the activities I will tell you, and we will also be enhancing this work. We will be adding additional interventions to make sure we efficiently use digital tools to train the workforce, to reskill and upskill the workforce. So about DIA education, this is a great initiative from the Ministry of Digital Transformation. It has been already around for a few years. And I can say this is a child of many donors and many projects where everyone contributed, and TAPAS was among the projects who contributed to the content on the DIA education, in open data, in anti-corruption. And we think it's really a powerful platform, and the numbers do speak for themselves, because now DIA education has over 2 million users and over 3 million certificates issued. Currently, there are over 180 educational series available on a huge variety of topics, starting from cybersecurity, starting from ecology, business development, career path, AI, and many, many other topics. How does it adapt to traditional education? Well, you all know that Vice Prime Minister Fedorov is also responsible now for science and education. And we see there is great work jointly by the Ministry of Digital Transformation, Ministry of Culture, and Ministry of Science to transform the sphere of traditional education, to make it more flexible, to make it more digital. But the whole nature of traditional education is it has to be consistent. It has to be consistent from the kindergarten to the school period, then vocational or higher education. And this consistency makes it less flexible because you cannot just simply move the boxes around because it has connections at all levels. So transforming traditional education is important, but what's important is having the flexible tools that will allow to complement the traditional education. And I think DIA education is a great example of this complementary tool, allowing to build material quickly. You can basically build a course in weeks, and you can make it up to date, and you can identify a topic that is burning, that is high on the agenda, and you can build this course, make it online, you can market it, and have like thousands of people access it within a very short amount of time. This is something that is harder to do with the traditional education because you would have to enroll, pass the exams, and so on. So I think, yeah, this is a real example of how a digital tool, and basically a crowdsourced digital tool, yes, because a wide array of stakeholders can add content to the tool. It really builds an official educational process where you can track the results, where you can engage people, where you can build like mass products, but at the same time you can build niche products and cover the needs that are less covered. So, and I think it has a huge potential in terms of upskilling and reskilling, as we are now seeing that this huge power, that it works and that it covers millions of people. Thank you.
Thank you. And frankly, now that I hear that, I would never tell I'm hearing about the government-led platform, the way it's explained, the functionalities, right, the outreach, and all the opportunities that is being offered. Like, no one would ever persuade me that we are not turning quickly into a digital state. Thank you so much. It's a great project that you're supporting. Ivan, actually, I feel that you have some competition from the government, while 3 million certificates and you have only 2. And frankly, you have been the first online platform I heard of in Ukraine. And you're growing fast, and you are now among, like, perhaps the largest one. How do you feel in that situation, and what are you doing now?
Yeah, sure. So just a quick correction. We have 3 million learners registered on the platform, and you mentioned 2 million learners, right? So still the largest one. Yeah, still important correction. Yeah, my name is Ivan Primachenko. I'm a co-founder of the largest Ukrainian online learning platform, Prometheus. We serve 3 million learners registered on the platform, 500 online courses. And, you know, let me start with this story from the beginning of the full-scale war. So at the beginning, we were really surprised by data that we saw, because first couple of months, obviously, the number of active learners on Prometheus decreased dramatically, like as expected, sure. It's a full-scale war. But in a couple of months, we saw a dramatic increase in the number of active learners. In June 2022, we saw more active learners on Prometheus studying courses than before the war started, full-scale war started, right? And we were really surprised. After that, we saw again and again new records of activities on the platform. From the beginning of full-scale war, we saw 3.5 million enrollments on our courses, 3.5 million enrollments, and more than 1.5 million people received certificates of completion of our courses. So I think it's a really good news, because we spoke a lot about highly qualified workforce shortage right now in Ukraine. And there is a huge demand from large employees, but there is also a huge demand from people wanting to learn new practical skills and gain employment, meaningful employment. And I think it's also an important moment. People don't want new online courses. They don't want to just study. What they truly want now, they want pathways to employment, nothing less, really. That's why in 2023, Prometheus launched this kind of unique project in Ukraine. We partnered with the largest employers, largest companies in IT in Ukraine, SoftServe, GlobalLogic, Cyclum, etc. And we created new study programs together with them. So they provided their experts as lecturers. We provided our expertise, how to design high quality learning experiences, and we launched new programs to give people enough skills, enough knowledge to gain their first jobs in IT. And these programs, they were really special because we combined prerequisites with your lectures, automatic assignments, with mentorship, with personal, answering personal questions from learners. And we created a program that was scalable and was 3 times less costly than the average price of commercial similar programs on Ukrainian market. That's because we are non-for-profit organization, we are social enterprise, but also because of our partners who provided lectures and was really interested in this. And since then, since the success of this project, we now want to expand it to non-IT employees and non-IT areas. Actually, I'm really happy to see a couple of our partners in this expansion, large companies right now in this room today. And you know, what we envision is to create these pathways to employment together with employees, not to engage them after, not to engage them like, oh, you see, we trained people and we are really good in training, but it's kind of not what working. Employees should be involved in creation of these programs from the beginning, because who else than them know best what to teach, what people have to learn to gain, you know, job from these companies. And this is how we want to achieve creation of new jobs and helping people to gain meaningful employment. And basically, you can see that because of this strong demand for employment pathways, we as a Prometheus, we become a professional development platform. We less and less just, you know, old school, cool educational platform, and we are more and more about professional development. And just one more thing. When we are talking about such programs, I already mentioned scalability and sustainability. I think it's a key, because we cannot ask donors, we cannot ask employees to give more and more money or resources, right, to provide such services for Ukrainians. It's just impossible on this scale. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of people we will need to train in the next couple of years. It's just impossible to ask for money again and again. But for this program, we actually sell these courses for a symbolic price, and people who can afford buy them. And this money, they are not giving us profits, but they are enough to cover costs to sustain this program after initial launch, right? And people who are not who not have enough money to pay even this symbolic money, they are covered by scholarships. And I think this model, right, is a perfect combination and will allow us to scale it not for hundreds or even 1,000 people, but for hundreds of thousands. Thanks.
This does sound interesting, and actually I want to follow up on that topic and passing to Alexander, asking basically, where do you think it all moves, right? So you all started with education. Now you're, you know, really upskilling people. Excellent phrase, career pathway or employment pathway, right? You are at Projector, for example, you involving experts and cool mentors from companies that train, and people get upskilled, you know, to the skill set level that they need to have to be employed in similar companies. So in those companies. But you need to go deeper, or you will go deeper. You need to integrate into HR process or engage employers more, serve them better. Where do you think it all moves? Like, what would be the next 2-3 years of evolution of Because employers need people, good, well-trained talent, and you're offering them, and you're like platforms that are widely accessible, known, and you can play a big, role in making it happen. So, what are thoughts?
Well, let's say you want to speak about artificial intelligence technologies. Okay.
Business model evolution, rather, between you and the employers.
Okay. So I think that speaking about the future of EdTech and the modern education, we must understand that we are living in the war context, and it gives us, well, the borders which we must work with. So there are a lot of challenges in economy, in the economic situation, and so on. So we just we don't have a right to ignore that. So I think that there are a lot of really great social and impact initiatives which were mentioned today, but there are much more of them. And that's really great that a lot of Ukrainian entrepreneurs and the donors and a lot of people are thinking about the impact that we have to create. The second thing is, I think that the speed of changes is just crazy today. And for example, in previous times, the educational platforms, they could create, or in university or in academic approach, we could create an academic plan for, I don't know, 5 years, for next 10 years. And it's really impossible today because technologies change constantly. And the program that you have created today would be really outdated and obsolete in a year. So we have to find the ways how can we update our programs, how can we update the products to stay tuned. I think that from our side, we try to manage that with top experts in the market. And when you're doing your job very well, you don't need a push to update the program because you are just in it and you know the best what is needed today. The second thing is the process of non-stop updates of the educational product. So I think that no educational platform can just create a course and leave it on the platform. It needs a lot of updates, and we all need the processes for that. And sure, AI, which comes now, I think it makes new rules for industries. And from my perspective, AI changes dramatically the marketing world and the design world. And the things that designers are creating today would be really different with the stuff we would do in some years. Because, for example, well, talking about, for example, AI education, it's commonly thought that how to use GPT to write letters. But AI revolution is much deeper because big companies, they can have a great boost of efficiency if they can use these technologies in the core. And for example, today, the designer who cannot code, who cannot even draw, using AI instruments can create applications that would work in your mobile phone immediately, in a day. And it creates a lot of possibilities for people who lack technical skills, but they have ideas. And I think that in some time, we would not just need so many technical skills, for example, in coding or development, or we would need that in very hard, very complex tasks. But a lot of job would be done without any crafting efforts. And this means that we would need people with different mindset. So today, the designer might just, I can draw and I don't need anything. In future, you must have ideas and you must think in a way, how can my product be interesting and gather the attention in the world where everyone has Midjourney or GPT. And there is not more attention from the audience, and people must find something in your work and you must put something. So I think that in future we must study how to think in more original way, how to have wider horizons, how to combine humanitarian education with technical education. And I'm really sure that it changes the paradigm of a lot of jobs and the educational process too. So there are a lot of challenges. Nobody really knows the answers. But I think that modern companies must look for the ways to cover that and to think about future, because it's already came. It's not. It would not come tomorrow. It already came. We're in the middle of that, and we must find how to work with that.
So the future is already today, and you're trying, at least from what I'm hearing, to stay ahead of the curve, guys. It's great. Hopefully employers will keep recognizing that fact that your progressive approaches will lead to great talent development. But one thing I think what generative AI can have troubles substituting is really English of Ukrainians, which still needs to be better. And here I wanted to
have you tried the ChatGPT 4?
For me, it's which knows everything. I know it knows video, anything, can write a song. But communication, it's interpersonal. It's person to person. Still?
You know, for all of this week, I'm communicating with the audio possibilities that were added to GPT the previous week, and it works really great.
I do believe you. I trust you as an expert. What I think, though, is that while Ukraine will need to be a part of the global economy and part of a European Union economy, we would need to communicate with other cultures and countries all the time, interpersonally, professionally, etc., etc. And for that, communication fundamentals will be key. And this is what I'll try to ask Stas, keeping in mind that we have a bit less time than we had initially. Can you tell us a little bit about the program where all Ukrainians need to know English, which is great. When I heard first about that program, it was always a big fundamental gap that didn't allow us to, integrate economically quick, which we need to do. Like, what would that be?
Yeah, thank you. Well, the good news, because following up to your discussion, is that AI is part of the Future Perfect program, so it doesn't contradict each other, it complements each other. Colleagues, can you please put presentation on the screen? I'll try to be very brief.
The one you had before, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So this is... Okay, this is another great initiative by the Ministry of Digital Transformation and the President of Ukraine. It was launched last year in November, and this is really a great example of a topic raised before, mix of traditional education and innovative tools to really change the educational landscape. So what Future Perfect is? This is basically a state program to promote learning of the English language, and it basically covers all levels of learners, and it covers all groups of society. So it's really a comprehensive program, and it's very unique in a sense. So the program was, as I mentioned, launched in November, and there is a draft law that passed first reading in November, and it lays foundation for this program. Now there is work to be done to amend and finalize the draft of this law, and hopefully it will soon be adopted, and the program will be boosted even stronger. There is some data behind this program, and this data is based on the research being conducted. And it has some numbers that are very inspiring. At the same time, it has some numbers that show there is a lot of work to be done. So the first number is basically 90% of the teachers in Ukraine have a level of B2 or higher in English, which of course provides a great foundation to enhance the learning of English. At the same time, only every fourth Ukrainian can read, write, and communicate in English at the everyday level or at professional levels. And there is one other key metric which says that the difference between the salaries for positions that have a demand for English and the positions that do not have such a demand is on average 60%. So it really shows the value added of learning English for a personality and for a personality in terms of economic value of this person on the market. This, as I mentioned, the program, it's comprehensive. It's for all Ukrainians. It has different tools. So these are industry trainings using AI tools. These are kindergarten programs. These are school programs, high-level education. Also the question of stimulating teachers and tutors to study English, to teach in English. So this is really a complex intervention. And of course, the public sector reform. English has been an issue in the public sector and is still an issue. And this program also aims to address that gap in order for Ukraine to be integrated in the European Union and in the free world on a much faster and massive scale. There is also the unique feature of this program is, on the one hand, it's state-based, so it intervenes and transforms in all levels of education, but it also involves cooperation of state, civil society, and market. And here you can see products like Promova, for example, who from the very start became part of the program, granting Ukrainians access to learn English. You see the Cambridge Empower is an online tool which is also part of the program from the very start. And you also see there is a whole number of other initiatives like the State Agency for Public Service English course, USAID support for civil servants learning English, and other partners. This is a link where you can find more information about the program. We have started support at TAPAS, but of course, as I mentioned, DTA will continue that work, and we really plan to get that support on a much higher scale, and especially as the draft law will actually turn into legislation, it will allow us to plan much more interventions, and we hope that in a very short period of time we will see the growth of that numbers you have seen at one of the first slides in terms of Ukrainians speaking English freely and using English in their everyday jobs. Thank you.
The round of applause for Ukrainians that will know English very soon, all of us. And we need to wrap up. I have a last question, and I'll ask Ivan, more about the future than other people do. You studied in Stanford. Now, with all your experience and insights of how reskilling and upskilling works right now in your large platform, and with a big need to have 4.5 million Ukrainians being engaged into the economy, which we don't have, what is lacking? Because we have various stakeholders here. We have universities, we have USAID, we have private sector, we have a lot of experts, a lot of organizations that are doing work. But what needs to be done, or who needs to work with whom to build that bridge between that large target and the business insights that you feel now?
Yeah, sure. So I think we already discussed two topics really important from institutional point of view, right? Partnerships with employers, because without them it's just impossible task and we're just wasting our time. The second one is scalability, because again, right, if you're unable to scale from financial or from organizational point of view, it's just irrelevant to real needs of Ukraine. It's just a small drop in the ocean. But from program point of view, I think there are two challenges that people often underestimate. The first challenge is obviously it's not enough to just provide people with the content. Even the highest quality online learning content is not enough by itself for people to study into complete learning. You need to provide mentorship, you need to provide accountability, establish accountability, right? You need to provide schedule, you need to provide peer pressure for people to complete courses, not just to enroll in them, right? And you will be surprised that all these things are extremely relevant, not only for free education, but even for education training paid by learners themselves. It's really crucial. We had an experience where we provided scholarships, 8,000 scholarships for people affected by war to gain new professions. And the first small batch of learning provided us with completion rate 21%, catastrophically low, right? We redesigned motivation system, mentorship system, accountability system from scratch, right? And in the next batch, we saw 94% completion rate. I think it's a great illustration of what I'm talking about, instructional design as a key element, because the idea can be great, right? Absolutely right idea. But without really careful implementation and real expertise in instructional design, we will see really small results as a completion rates, right? And now, by the way, we are going to finalize the final batch of this program, and we're expecting currently more than 98% completion rate. We will see. I mean, we'll still need to complete in 2 months, but now preliminary results like this. And the second challenge, employability. Of course, employability, because again, it's not enough to push people to complete courses, but we need to provide them training, how to prepare CVs. We need to simulate what we're doing in Prometheus. We simulate interviews. We allow people to see training interviews and then to participate in training interviews. And then we give them feedback on their performance during these training interviews. And then people like, okay, I can do it, right? You need to push people to apply. You would be amazed how many people complete courses but don't apply to any open positions, highly qualified people after the training. So these two challenges, but they are real. If we can solve them, we will solve a lot of problems. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will solve them together. Let's give a round of applause for our speakers. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm coming back to all of you. Thanks to all of our friends that found the time. Thank you so much that you are with us. Right now, I want to make an important announcement to our online viewers also, to all of you, because right now will be the time which is very important, because during this time, lots of people make their important decision, because it's a time of new connection. We name it coffee break. 15 minutes, friends. 4 p.m. We're waiting for all of you to come back. Thank you so much. Ladies and gent, once again want to remind you about our agenda. Once again, want to ask you, can you please, ladies and gentlemen, can you please tell me how much time you need to come back in 2 minutes? We're still waiting for you. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, inviting you to come back. I really believe that after our second session, we'll have enough time to enjoy this conversation. I see that it works great, but right now, we invite all of you to come back and to continue, because we are practically ready. We'll be ready with you for the second final discussion. And now it's a last call to come back, so please, waiting for all of you, waiting to come back. And to our online participants, we want to say words of thanks and address to all of you who stand with us, if you're ready also to ask questions, feel free to write them, and you will hear your question during our panel discussion. Our participants are coming back, and we're stay tuned. We really believe that today we write a history, the history of our country, the history of millions of people. So, ladies and gents, we ask you to take this pen, which help us to write this history. Ladies and gents, we inviting all of you to come back. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I believe that I did my best. I hope so. I really hope so that some people say that they will come back. We see you, and they said me that they're ready to get all the information we have. And let me please ask you once again to look at the person who is sitting to the left side of you. Say hello to this person. Say hello to this person. Say hello, hi, happy to see you. Okay. Very good. Can I ask you to look to the right and shake hand to the person who is sitting to the right side of you? Please make it, yes. Say hello, hello. Ready to continue? Yes. Yeah, definitely. Definitely want to share right now this stage, let's name this area like a stage, with the one whom I really believe that all of you know, founder and CEO of Happy Monday. a leading career acceleration platform in Ukraine. Anima Roses, round of applause goes to you. Please welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. And probably before I would start, I would just want to a bit decrease the level of risk of existence of Happy Monday in our work. Like, we are not here to destroy their brand and actually the enjoyment of Happy Fridays, so don't worry about that. We are just about rebranding of Mondays and actually other days of the week as well. We are working on the Ukrainian market for 7 years already. And I would say that the key expertise we do have is career acceleration and employability. We do have a lot of loyal employers eager to work with us. And during the recent 2 years, I would say that we focused a lot on different target audience in order to support the employability of vulnerable groups we are working with. For now, like, our general audience is about 5 million users annually, but there are a lot of different aspects of those work with different people looking for different professions, opportunities, skill set, and so on. So I want to make a small connection of my conversation I had just this morning with also one of the big Ukrainian employer, and we had this conversation about which are those less developed skills of Ukrainian community and where we need to focus on and what to develop. And we were thinking about that there are a lot of amazing actors on the market, a lot of organizations doing perfect work. But sometimes we are really lacking conversation and opportunity to build partnerships. So we do a lot on ourselves, but we are not that well connected in order to build these bridges between each other. So first of all, I'm truly honored to be here, and big thanks for USAID to providing us this platform to communicate and create these bridges within those organizations we are working with. I feel that there is something that goes deep beyond the institutional capacity of Ukraine in order to face whatever challenges we have and gap of skills as well here today. So my panel is actually about multi-generational workforce approach, how we work with those different categories of people in order to face their challenges, to provide the better solutions, and actually solve those problems we want to. So I want to invite my amazing panelists on the stage. I would introduce them and also a bit stress what are the topics that this person perfect in order to understand which target audience we are talking with. So first one, to talk about specific of engagement of younger generations of the workforce, Andriy Zaykin, CEO of YEP Entrepreneurship University. Whatever place you like. Thank you, Andriy, for being here. So we have young generations here. Who else and which target audience to show? Engagement of women in the workforce. Anna Orechova, co-founder and partner of InScience. You're so beautiful, dear. So happy to see you. Wow, that is about youth and women engagement as well, like two topics. Cool. Upskilling in digital professions of youth with disabilities. Yulia Tkachuk, Deputy Chief of Party, USAID Unity Program. Thank you so much. And one more speaker for my panel, Reskilling multiple generations of engineers and technical specialists for digital economy, Timothy Brik, Rector of Kyiv School of Economics. Okay, I will be somewhere in the middle. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here and for that amazing work you are doing with each target audience, like you're facing the challenges of. I want to start within those less than an hour we have with about 5 to 7 minutes of your personal stories and those focuses, initiatives, policies, good cases that you already have. So Andriy, I want to start with you. Can you tell us more? You're working with young generation and entrepreneurship at the same time. So that goes a lot about building the new economy of small and medium business, but as well supporting the part of youth staying in Ukraine or coming back to Ukraine. Can you share your experience, how you're doing that, what challenges you're facing, what are specific instruments or good case practices you have in work with youth in entrepreneurship?
Is it work?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you very much. My name is Andriy Zaykin. I'm a founder of YEP. YEP is an ecosystem of innovative entrepreneurship, and we mostly work with young people, as you already mentioned. And The main goal probably is to develop the supportive ecosystem for any young founder of startup founder, develop their professional and personal path through the entrepreneurship or trying entrepreneurship. And in 2020, we launched the Entrepreneurial University Initiative, and it was like an idea. Why didn't we try make the startup management or making startup as a part of the official curricula in university? And we tried to give this call to action, let's say, to universities. We developed this curricula. It was their innovative entrepreneurship and startup management course. And we expected that we've got, I don't know, like 5, 6, 10 universities and try to integrate it into the curricula and official program. But we had got 134 applications in 1 week from it was 134 universities all over Ukraine, and we understood that this is a huge demand from the university, from academia to this initiative. And since 2020, we already launched 120 universities in our network, and this course integrated into the curricula, and more than 300 teachers all over Ukraine. They teach and run this course, and we facilitate this program in general and upskill these teachers and work with students as well. This is kind of part of this multi-generational work, teachers and students. And the first probably main point, like jumping into the topic about workforce, about the skilling, upskilling and development, I think that I believe that entrepreneurial skill is one of the most crucial and universal skill, let's say, in terms of preparation for job market, and in terms of development of workforce. And it's not only one skill; it's a complex of skills. It mix of soft and hard skills as well. If you are have the experience of launch and run your own venture, your business, you get usually super comprehensive set of skills. And actually, from my point of view, this is one of the most crucial in terms of technology as well. And if I just want to mention a couple of numbers. Recently, I was exploring the McKinsey report about the technology development and trends. And there are a couple of numbers. So up to 2030, 2032, there will be 50% of all job functions, probably or most likely, will be automated and replaced by the technology, AI and whatever. And then the next number is 70% of all active workforce, of all active people, they will be affected by these changes. So, and it will be in 8 years already. So 2030, 2032 is in 8 years. So
can I ask you 2 questions here, according to your experience? First one is actually those students who finish the entrepreneurial course. Are they actually valued by the employers on the skill sets they get? So don't we have this fear of employers that these guys are looking for their own business? I shouldn't employ them.
No, I don't think so. And actually, there is a statistics, and we have from 8 to 10% of people in audience who have entrepreneurial inclination, let's say. So they have willingness to try. And then out of those 8%, only 2% will probably launch and run their business successfully. They will launch company, they will run business. So it's super small conversion of those who will really be entrepreneurs, and other students, other participants, other people who had this training to launch their business and had this skill, they just will be more competitive. They just have more mature set of skills in terms of innovation, lean approaches, and they will just more effective and competitive in work environment, like in terms of employers, yeah. So there is no risk, I think.
Okay, but from the other side, if there is no risk, do we need to market more of those skills for the employer in order to value them more? So do you think this understanding or lack of understanding within their employers with whom we are talking, that is something they maybe need to take out of the market, those skills of the entrepreneurship, and also give maybe the skill set to their current employees? Do you feel that that's something that employers should understand more maybe?
I think that's already happening because, again, I can remember the last top 10 skills, like in RISE, skills that RISE is being raised from World Economic Forum last year. And there in this top 10 skills, there already appeared the technological literacy, big data and AI, something like this. So actually, this all skill they already already demanded by the work from employers, because this is top skills. This rank, it designed from their world globally ask and demand from the big employers and corporations. So actually, they already it's already happening and it's already on the table.
Cool. Thank you so much. I hope that I will have time more to come back to you. But now, Anya, you're with your team doing amazing job on working with women and preparing them for STEM professions particularly. To be honest, when I don't know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when you had the first wave of Boot, when I saw the project, I thought, how come that's not we who created this project? So thank you very much. That lies a lot about what we feel also as our team about the need of those confidence and new professional reskilling of women in the workplace. So my question is, what you see right now, also maybe have you seen the changes between the first wave before this full-scale invasion and what you're doing right now? And is there some specific things that you can highlight is that field of preparation of women in mostly male-dominated STEM professions?
Anna, thank you very much for the feedback and for your question. Actually, Enjoy in Science have this big aim to popularize science and to increase its value to society, to business and state. And one of our main focus is gender equality in STEM, in IT and creative industries. And the work that we are realizing, the project that we are realizing in partnership with USAID is a project B, because the idea that you can be whoever you want, you can be UX designer, you can be developer, you can be director, just whoever you want. And this program is specially dedicated to women. And our aim was to create this very supportive ecosystem for them to change job or to find job, because a lot of women lost their job, especially after full-scale invasion. And we have this, 3 components, how we work with them, and I would like to share it because maybe your project and organization, you can implement this also. We have this first component when women can choose the curator who will guide them, who will find strong points of each participant and do this matchmaking with the requests from the market. And sometimes curator is the person who believes in you more than you believe in yourself, because talking about challenges we face, there's a lot of women who come to Boot program, they underestimated themselves. So they think, for example, that they have skills for junior position, but they have skills for senior position. And curator is very important person who really needs to support them, to show them their strong points. Then when they have this supportive mood and more confidence, we have this part with mentoring support. So mentoring is more about gaining skills and you can choose from, we have mentors from more than 180 Ukrainian and global companies. So then you can go deeper in this sphere you want to find a job. And then third component that we have in the Boot program is educational program. So very basic skills, how to write CV, how to pitch, how to do interview, how to feel more self-confident when you want to get a job. And for the most motivated women, we give also the possibility of free education, like for several months. If you want really to change your profession, you can go there. And these three components, they really create this supportive ecosystem that can help women to find a job and be economically independent, because this is what we want. And one of also core things, important things for us is this supportive community. We will talk here about the age gap. We have really very different age in Bud. It's from 16 to 61. And we didn't want to separate, do some separate groups depending on something. We wanted this to be the community and to have these communications among women who are searching a job, who want to change the job, and support each other. It's also one of the core parts of the B platform.
Thank you very much for sharing. I just want to share a bit of our experience working with women, and also ask you what your experience was. We during the recent 1 year and a half also had a huge women empowerment program. We did a lot of multi-skill set of programs, education, grant management, mentorship. But what we saw and what gave us more than 35% of employment is the only small part of self-presentation and confidence when they're talking in negotiation process of employer. According to your experience and what you see in 2 waves of the program, what are the main success factor for women to get employed and to actually face the real need of employers on the market?
I will say that it's 2 things: self-confidence and belief in yourself, but also to have skills to perform and to do basic stuff like good CV. Because you're not starting from interview, you're starting from some digital stuff, that companies see. So you really need to have these 2 components together to have a success. And we have one great success story. We have a woman who had 40 plus rejection of work. And then she talked to our curator, mentors. She had some skills on educational program, and recently she got an offer. So I mean, when you think about one story like this, you already have a lot of motivation to do such a project in the future.
I don't know. I think for all of us, personal success stories are something that motivates. One more question was age gap, actually, and you told about confidence, about resume, definitely. What about digital skill set? Because we do understand that youth, statistically, I don't want to discriminate here as well, they are more savvy with technologies. But do you feel that those women of middle and elder generations, they actually also one of their parts are just erasing the digital skills for them in order to be successful in the labor market?
Yeah, that's true that they have very different digital skills. Of course, when we say about 16 and 61, it will be different. But we did it for purpose, these mixed groups, and we wanted this approach of learning by doing, because when you come to our program, and it's online program, so you need to have these skills to book in Calendly this slot, to have the Zoom meeting, to have registration on some website. And it's true that for some of our participants, it was very hard and they couldn't do this. But their curators and other women helped them. So it took 1 or 2 days to gain these very basic digital skills, but that they will need surely in their work further. So learning by doing, and this supportive community can help to gain these basic digital skills. And then, of course, if we speak about more profound, you should go and do some educational program and gain it there.
To you now, you're working with this audience with people with disabilities. And I guess your experience is something that every employer needs to adopt from now and so on in order to have inclusive workplaces and jobs in place. So can you share those specific approaches or good case studies you already can bring to employers, to workforce, which you already found in your program and can be scaled for other institutions as well?
Thank you, Anna.
I know you have presentation, right?
Yeah, I would like to bring up my slides. Oh, thank you.
Just will ask you if you can make it for 5-6 minutes. That would,
sure.
Thank you.
Yes, so I represent a youth development program, and one of our objectives is to expand economic opportunities for youth. And about 1.5 years ago, we invested in upskilling online courses for youth with disabilities, and I'm going to share a few stories and outcomes and lessons we learned because they are very much relevant to several of the barriers that were described by speakers before me. So let's start with numbers. The workforce potential for people with disabilities is quite high. The data is scarce, but even from these numbers, you see that there are a lot of people with disabilities in Ukraine, and with war continuing, many more civilians and veterans will be coming back and having to learn how to live with disability. And currently, only 16.2% of people with disabilities are employed. In EU, this share is about 55%. So we need to do a better job. Here, now we will talk about people, and I insisted to have slides just to show you. Irina, she is a graphic designer. She has a hearing impairment. She lives in Kamenets-Podilsky. She is employed, and she wants to live and stay and develop professionally in Ukraine. These are the examples of Irina's work and her profile on Behance. This is another Irina. She works as a copywriter. She found employment with Karakuli agency. It's a communication agency, and she also works for the League of Strong as their partnership manager. Again, Irina wants to be part of active workforce that contributes to Ukrainian economy. Serhiy, he is a video editor. He comes from a small town in Kirovohrad Oblast, and here you can read his personal journey, how he struggled at the beginning, but was very motivated to gain a digital profession and to stay in digital profession and make income. So if I did not share with you, with the permission of these people, that they have a disability, who would you see? You would see motivated, professional, dedicated employers. And there are many of them who can be integrated into the workforce. And this is my only point, really, that disability with the availability of digital tools and digital professions is not that big of a barrier. It's a circumstance that can be accommodated rather easily. So in Unity, we partnered with Center for Corporate Social Responsibility, CSR Ukraine, and ran 4 rounds of online rapid upskilling courses for youth with disabilities. The demand is huge. We received over 900 applications. We were able to take into the program about 300 participants. We trained them in copywriting, graphic design, and video editing, and these are the areas that were identified by youth with disabilities as the desired professions. In addition to hard skills, we supplemented the learning with freelancing skills, how to build your profile, how to negotiate with clients, how to set up your taxes. We provided individual mentorship in addition to courses, lectures, and workshops, and we helped them find their first clients. And the results that we are seeing are amazing. So 45% earned income, 21% of our participants found regular employment and are currently employed. And across various workforce development initiatives that we did in the past 2 years, the employment rates vary from 10% to 33%, so 21 for this specific audience is considerable. 77% of people who graduated from the course continue their professional development, and 93 want to grow and stay in these professions. So what did we learn from this? That youth with disabilities and people with disabilities have high potential to enter workforce in this digital era where there are tools that can help them do their work. Short-term adapted training programs do bring results and are good investments if you want to not overlook a group that has a good potential. Digital professions are suitable for this group, but also we need to take a step further and offer them new professions in prospective industries like drones for agriculture or like IT, digital professions for energy. And what is really important is to be open for youth with disabilities and for people with disabilities, because Historically, they have been underrepresented, and you need, as an employer or as a program, you need to be proactive in communicating that whatever you offer is suitable for them. Like when you post a job announcement, unless you say that this job is suitable for a person with disability, people with disabilities read that this is for everybody but them, because historically that has been the case. So proactive communications, policies to make the working environment safe and adapted to the needs of people with disabilities is another point. And changing the attitude, kind of looking at specifics of some groups as their strengths rather than their weaknesses is probably one of the key attitudes that any workforce development program needs to have in order to integrate people with disabilities. And I'll stop there.
Thank you so much. I first of all want to highlight once again that thing you told about this. I call it a bit of positive discrimination, but that is what is important from the side of employer. We had the same example with veterans when we asked employers just to put their tick that this job is open for the veteran community. So in order to showcase that they are open and they're not going to meet the discrimination when they're coming to the interview. The same with actually like elderly people as well. That is something we need to focus on overcoming the ageism, which is still there on the market. So your part about putting this tick that this job is open for the people with disabilities, I think that's something so easy, but we need as employers to take care of it. My two questions here for your side. First one is actually, I saw that you were focused more on the freelance skills. Do you feel that that is because employers still have this unwill to go into the cooperation with people with disabilities, or why the freelance was as focus for this education?
We actually never designed this program for full-time employment, but ended up having people employed because they showed great results. We intentionally brought the employers to give jobs to the graduates of our courses, and the quality of their work was high, so many employers went into offering them full-time employment. And there are biases. The biases are mutual. People with disabilities do not have a strong belief in their own abilities, very similar to what Anya was saying about women. And on the end of employers, there is bias as well. But this bias is easily overcome when you do not see the person, but see the results of the person's work. And then you make, we say in our program, if you do not intentionally include, you unintentionally exclude. So for employers, a will to include is key, and they would get access to a big group of people who can be employed and who can perform well, because there are organizations and associations who work with people with disabilities. They know how to get to these people. They make connections. Networking works very well. The majority of participants of our course learned about it from their peers. Will to include is key, would be my key message for the employers.
And one more question for you. Actually, we had on the previous panel those people who are actually working a lot in education and providing online education. And I guess employers as well. This field of learning and development is something that most of the employers are investing right now, and they do understand their value of reskilling and upskilling of their own teams, but also those they're hiring. Do you have some advice maybe on those adapting strategies we need to provide in order to open our education programs for people with disabilities?
Plenty. Yeah, but I'll try to be short. First of all is policies. Like, you could not have the digital work for you if you do not configure the human properly. The main barriers were not related to kind of hard skills. The main barriers were related to soft skills and to the conditions, to the enabling environment. So my first advice for employers and for education programs, to talk to people with disabilities and kind of make, first of all, digital adaptation, like screen readers, voiceovers, are very easy things that can be added on top to the existing programs. And then policies and procedures, like the policy of zero tolerance to discrimination. the policy on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Talk to your teams. What diversity means to them. Do they feel that they are represented? How far are they going? Are they willing to go to make others part of their community, part of their team? Then how do you deal with conflict resolution? Work-life balance, kind of all these things are very important to people with disabilities, but also to regular workers. Like when I was listing the benefits that the course graduates voiced, they were all applicable to an effective employee in a modern world. So all these things count, but kind of you need to make them, to be intentional about them. Maybe policies and procedures sounds very boring, but they actually help because they create this human magnet, the enabling environment for people to feel great about working in your company.
Yulia, thank you so much for the work you are doing. Now, Timothy, your part. Given your role in Kyiv School of Academics and working with multi-generational people and students within your institution, what working strategies you can recommend for each participant here in order to prepare us for digital era and prepare for those market challenges we have?
All right. First of all, thank you for having me, and thank you to USAID and TAPAS and DTA for your fantastic work. You're great partners and donors for Ukraine, for us, so thank you. To answer to your question, I have to say a few words about our university and then about our frameworks, and then I will talk in more details about the points you just addressed. So, you know, even though we are considered to be a classic university with undergraduate and graduate programs, we actually overlap a lot with organizations from the previous panel and also from this panel. So we are present in the same market and niche of offering short-term professional education. Thousands of people received our certificates in procurement. Now we teach how to use ChatGPT and such. We try to be also proactive in working with youth through our charitable foundation. We rebuild shelters, which is very important to continue education in schools. We work with talented females in STEM through providing grants and financial aid, again with the support of our charitable foundation. We try to be inclusive. We are very friendly with our staff, including LGBT community. Yeah, so you know, we are doing our best to be relevant on the market, and educational market. And to answer to your question, I want to zoom out a bit and talk about our frameworks, because whenever, you know, whatever program we are going to talk, we can talk about engineers, we are going to talk about lawyers, psychologists. Regardless, for us, it's always about two key points. And one is relevance and another is innovation. So whenever we try to build a program, we first think about these two ingredients. Are this program going to be innovative and relevant? Can we deliver that?
How are you checking the relevance according to?
Yeah, that's actually the most crucial question. How we define relevance, how we check relevance. So it's not the same as to say supply and demand. Most universities, classic universities, are supply driven. You know, like academia, we know better, we believe in fundamental things, and maybe the market is, you know, doesn't understand anything. We have to give this beautiful knowledge and teach them what is important, math, physics, whatever. But another extreme is to think about demand-driven approach, you know, what are the occupations that are needed now, what are the occupations with best wages, maybe we should go there. So these are two extreme approaches, but neither of them are about relevance. So for us, relevance is about anticipation. So I'll give you an example. We just launched a master program in urban planning, aiming to educate managers who will be working on planning and urban design of cities that will be deoccupied. So these cities are not deoccupied yet. So there is no market for that yet. So it's not market-driven approach. It's also not driven by supply, because you know we were not urban planners. We were economists or whatever, but we thought that it's important to invest and to learn something about urban science so we can open this program. Yeah, so basically it's always a discussion about what will be relevant for for us in a few years. And the way how we check for relevance is basically running between different stakeholders. You know, it's about alignment. If something is needed for everyone, therefore this is relevant. You know, if you listen to what Penny Pritzker says, if you listen to what people in local communities say, if you listen to what people in academia say, everyone say that we need energy, technology, engineers. Everyone need engineers, therefore it is relevant. So, and sometimes we make these decisions even before running deep, sophisticated analysis. You know, this alignment can substitute market research in times of uncertainty and when there is no market. You know. And the second part is innovation. People thrive for innovation. So people want to understand what are the tools now that are relevant to be successful in the market. But also on the other side, you know, professors, teachers, they want to make sure that whenever they deliver something, it must have innovative components. So how we teach, do we use flipped classes or not? Do we adopt ChatGPT in our teaching curricula or not? So all these questions should be addressed. And your question was about, you know, different generations, how to work with them. And we have now a very specific example. We're launching now 2 programs in engineering. One is in engineering of air vehicles, drones. Another is about electronics. Again, there is nothing in our brand that says engineering. We're Kyiv School of Economics, not engineering. At least the first letter, you know, you can pretend. But again, it's more about relevance and capacity to learn and try to adjust and to think about the programs that are needed for everyone. And the part of innovation is, you know, it's in this case, it's about flexibility. So we were very quick to build these programs, to find partners. If we feel that we have some gaps, our partners can contribute. We have partners in ETH, Zurich. It's a very strong university. We have very flexible ways of organizing programs. You know, usually universities, they don't open programs in the span of 3-4 months. We do, and this is also a part of innovative culture. So having this together, innovative approach, innovative culture, and understanding of what is relevant, you can launch the programs. And this speaks to the audience. You know, we have admission campaign now, and potential students, people who apply, they range from 20 years to 55 years. So, you know, these people are of different age, but it's not important as long as they feel that the program is relevant, and they therefore they have motivation, you know, to join the program and to study. And tools to teach people, they don't correlate with age of these people. You know, you can employ the same tools and the same curriculums and style of teaching for multiple generations. This is not a big issue, in fact. Yeah.
You talked about the checking the relevance and going to the different stakeholders. Can you share maybe the prioritization of those stakeholders, and what are the role of direct employers in those, like, highlighting the demand of those curriculums that you are creating? Like, do you have this link with the market that are going to hire those people afterwards?
Yeah, I think it's not like we really have a ranking of stakeholders. Usually it's all the same usual suspects that you know. It's about local governance and local communities, you know, people who actually first responders, you know, people who will rebuild cities, and people who need cities. These are people who actually live in these communities. It's about local businesses and national businesses. It's about international donors. It's about our own faculty, because they also have to say something in making decisions about what we teach and what we don't teach. But also I just realized that you know, there is one stakeholder which is very crucial for us, has been always, but whenever I say that out loud and publicly, for some reason people are surprised. Yeah? And this is government. We sincerely believe that the government, national government, is a very important stakeholder, especially during the war, especially when we, you know, as a political scholar / sociologist, I understand that during the war, a certain centralization is crucial. So, you know, the government becomes very important. And I think in Ukraine we have this culture that whenever you meet an intellectual or a scholar, this person has to be anti-government. So that's why people are surprised when I say that government is indeed an important stakeholder, and we always try to check with them as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much for this amazing overview of what you're doing. We have a bit of a time yet. Maybe there are some questions from the audience. I would also like to provide the space for you to ask something. If no, I have a lot of questions from myself. Okay, if you will have, just raise your hand and I will ask you. So the question I do have, and especially those target audience you are working with, I hope I'm not the one in my experience, but working with my own team, and we are team of 30, and most of my team is young, professional, ambitious, young by soul mainly, people who are eager to do something and they're really into their professional development. But still, with those people in my team, I see huge resistance for technology. I use ChatGPT on daily basis, and what I started to do, I just make the print screens of those use cases I use and send to my team in order to show how to use the things. And when I ask, do you use it? No, we don't. Why? And that's what I am facing in my day-to-day work. And you told a lot about the value and role of technology in what you are doing. Maybe you have some cases, or what is your opinion on this resistance from the audience side, from the target audience that you're working with? How to make them more safe with technologies, and how to make that something that we do use on the regular basis, and not when Anya will send something to my team as a task, or your people will need to apply and use it currently. How to make us more flexible in changing the habits of day-to-day activities using the technology? Whoever wants to start.
I think the first step is very important, because from the moment you try GTP chat first time, you understand the value, and then you just understand that you can do something very quickly. And in our case, I told you about this woman who has 40 plus rejections. Actually, his curator changed her CV with her using that chat. So he showed her how she can do this. And then she shared this case in our chat with other participants. So it's good, it's like leading, for example, I mean, you do something and other people see that it works really good and then can follow you. But it's important for them to do this first step and to try and to see the difference.
And probably to have somebody who can guide them through this experience, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Andrei?
Actually, probably I'm not feel such a challenge, because...
Lucky you.
Probably because I work mostly with startups and startup founders in all my community around me. They, let's say, more developed in this part, in the technology, using and utilizing. But my thoughts that actually it's a matter of time, nearest time, people will implement these technologies in their regular work. So as we can say right now about emails, yeah, everybody knows how to use emails and how to send them, how to receive, how to check it. Yeah, the same thing will be with the ChatGPT in 1-2 years probably. So it's a matter of time. Of course, for each leader and CEO of a company, it's part of its responsibility right now to make it faster and cultivate this culture and try to push softly their employees to use these technologies. But I think that it's the problem that will disappear in a couple of years.
I actually will disagree with you here, because I think that is the same a bit as English skills. You know, we now see mainly what is the gap between those people who know English and a part of global economy and those who are not. And I'm not sure it's just a matter of time, especially when we are talking to multi-generational approach. So those people without this understanding how to turn on the computer, will they be able to use the ChatGPT, and how to provide this understanding of the need of this technology usage for those multi-generational communities. I do understand that in your point it's more about youth and startups. That's probably why this question is a bit separate from what your experience is there. But maybe somehow take these people and integrate elder one in startup community, giving them the same understanding of entrepreneurship mindset, but not only for youngsters. That's maybe where something we can think about.
Yeah, but whom we can consider as an elder one? 40, 45? or I am close to 45 already, so I do not like consider myself, and I can compete with 20 years old, like in terms of the technology. And yeah, in 5-10 years, like we will have like most like a lot of people who now like 20, 25, or those who are now 15, they will be already the part of this workforce and employment market. And they will be definitely more mature in the technologies, yeah. And so I mean this, that is this a matter of time? Probably like not 1 or 2 years, okay, but 5-10 years. But this is like the matter of time.
Thank you. Timothy, probably I will first go to you with that question also about going this multi-generational approach and also lifelong learning. That's something that goes a lot about your institution, educational one. Like, do you see this technological gap between different generations, and do we need to do something in order to decrease the resistance of technology?
Yeah, so I have to say that I hate technologies and I hate change. I don't like to learn new things, but I'm trained to do that. So
that is possible to train.
It is possible. Look, I agree with you a lot with the previous speaker. I think we live in a unique era when this gap is not so visible because of the unique accessibility of tools. Look, there is no shortage of scenarios when people use technologies for something bad. You know, we have these stereotypes that, oh, people of different generations or educational background, they don't know how to use technologies. And then you see people who are elderly and they watch TikTok to consume propaganda uncritically. You know, so for some reason, when people really want, they know how to use technologies, but it
probably
just
easy access here is the matter.
So access is significant, and ChatGPT and other tools are unique in the way that they're the accessibility is very high. So basically for us, in our university, in our organization, it's a matter of finding this kind of matching algorithm. You have to identify what do people actually need, whether people actually have some puzzles to solve or some tasks to execute. And then you can either enforce or incentivize using these new technologies. I think your example is great because you said that you are using use cases. I would also start from that. Use cases are very telling, yeah, so people actually train on use cases. The second part for me would be shared learning, because sometimes people, they receive your message and they think, well, my boss just sent me another message, now I have to quit some tasks and work on this task, and I'm embarrassed because I'm stupid with technologies and she will judge me. So it's better to have this safe environment of shared knowledge when you show them, you lead with example and you say, it's not just a screenshot. I also didn't know how to achieve this task, and I struggled with this task, and I can show you how I struggled with this task. So that's what we did. We had a closed room, and we shared, not only successes, but also failures in how to learn. And in our case, we work in a very specific market, maybe. Some people were afraid to be irrelevant, like, oh, they will fire me because ChatGPT is more important. But for us, it was important to deliver the message that it's not true. We will actually give you a raise if you learn how to use these new technologies, and you will be more relevant on the market. So it's a combination of things. I don't believe that. I understand that sometimes we observe gaps. But I don't think that this is gaps in age, gaps in education, but I don't think that this is a specific causality issue here. There is something else which correlates with age and education, and you can address it through use cases and shared learning.
Thank you so much. I agree that it's a combination, but it's also this kind of mindful action that is done in order to do it. Yulia, I want to end probably this session with you. According to your target audience, people with disabilities, I guess that technological safety is something that actually makes the open door for them in employability and being the part of the workforce. So do you feel here that this resistance of technology is something that makes them, makes this gap of being the part of the workforce, and how to overcome it?
Thank you. Before talking about people with disabilities, I would like to support everything that Timothy said, and also add that if you want to introduce a new technology, you need to leave no other option for your employees. Timesheets are now only online, no paper signatures. And as Timothy said, it's very important to recognize and share the frustration. It is frustrating for me to fill out these forms, but eventually that gives us more efficiency. And we also tried multi-generational interventions where we had young people teaching their babushkas and dedusi how to be safe on internet. And like they loved it, kind of both sides of this intervention loved interaction, and they were doing crazy things like they would go out to the parks and say, oh, here are some babushkas sitting on the bench, let's go and see what they do with their smartphones. This both cross-generational interaction and interaction with technology at the beginning should be a little bit, I would not dare to say forced, but encouraged. Kind of positive reinforcement really works. For people with disabilities, for youth with disabilities, they see technology as a big avenue to be integrated, but it's also a struggle for them. Very much like Anya said, they face the same issues with getting comfortable with something new, getting comfortable with how to connect to Zoom calls, how to do Google document, how to email your presentation through WeTransfer or something else. So it's a matter of time, but it needs to be like the only option that is there, because like there is no coming back to pre-technology time, and the sooner people realize and the more support systems they have to be more friendlier with these new scary things, the faster this this transition will happen.
I guess here's a lockdown can be a great example when just within 1 or 2 weeks, all of us became like digital, and even the teachers in the public schools, they started to make it online as well. Thank you so much, first of all, for those things that you're doing. Yeah, Anya?
Yeah, I would like shortly to add very personal thing from our work team, and maybe it really could help other teams. Now we are also doing changing of work system inside the team. And we have a person in the team, her name is Christina, who is coming every week to everybody and asking, are you okay here with this new stuff? Can I support you? So it's not just reminder. She don't just remind us, and me and my partner Elena the same, because for us it's also challengeable. It's not just reminder, but she reminds and she asks, how can I help you? Maybe you want 10-15 minutes call, and we will see how you can improve your workspace. And I think this is important. And it could be a person from a team who can do, I don't know, project management and a little bit of this if you can't afford you the separate person for this. But I think that one person like this can really drive big changes in the team.
Thank you so much. I think we're like lack of time already, but I'm so grateful for your experience and what you're doing and those advices you provided. I personally take this vulnerability part and showcasing the mistakes as well. I don't know, maybe just short one thing that you're taking from this panel, just one phrase if you have, I think that would be valuable for like all the participants. So what was something valuable that you can take out of this panel for your work?
So actually, it's almost from the panel, but the thing that you said before starting the panel, that all of us, we're doing great stuff, but it's a little bit a lack of these connections, and it's really important to talk with each other, and I already have some ideas how we can work together. So this is the strong point, to have this connection together and sharing experience on the real cases that we did. I think this real cases was very valuable today.
Thank you, Anya. Andrei?
Yeah, just I am wondering that a lot of uncertainty and interesting time we live now, and but I would stand on the position that entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial skills it's one of the main things that would help for young generation to be more effective and competitive on that market that we are moving to. So actually in 5-10 years.
Thank you. Yulia, Timothy?
For me, probably the main takeaway is that we all try new things, and probably we should be more brave with trying new things and not being afraid of making mistakes or taking a longer route to the targets and our objectives.
Thank you. Timothy?
Despite that we are doing a lot of efforts and we are in this business for a long time, there's always things to learn. I learned today a lot from your presentation about people with disabilities, and I think this data-driven approach and the reminder that there are so many social groups that we should think of and care of, especially during the war, is it was a strong message for me. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to spend this 1 hour with you.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you who united in us, who start to be the part of the big history. So coming back to summarize all and everything what happened, want to thanks to all of you that been the part of today's meeting. Want to hear the applause to each other. Please make some noise to each other. And we hope, speaking true, that we hope that today you have discovered innovative approaches to leverage digital technologies to address workforces, challenges, and drive economic growth. If yes, make some noise of applause. We believe that the insights shared today will be positively influenced on Ukraine and all the country, all the future of our country. If yes, please make some noise. Together we can unlock the potential of digital technologies to create a skilled and resilient workforce. Thank you for this amazing day. Thank you. If you know, to make the marathon, you need to make the first step. Today we did it together. Thank you so much. Thank you, and we propose you to enjoy the time together, to enjoy the time in conversation, and to find more and more people, because it's so awesome to find the one who really, how you said, can help you to level up yourself and to study, even right now, all the time, 24 hours. Speaking to, I have a person who is a famous CEO. He's the owner of a big company, and he's got a T-shirt with a print. On one side is CEO, and on the other side is all life student. Thank you so much.